Welcome to the Standing Out in Ohio podcast, where we discuss topics, upcoming events, news, and predictions with real estate professionals and entrepreneurs. Listen and learn what makes their companies and themselves stand out and gain advantages over the competition and gain market share. Subscribe for the latest news and discussion on what it takes to stand out from the crowd. Now, here's your host, Jim.
Hey everybody, this is Jim and of course Laura Troth, the office goddess. So we're here for the Standing Out Ohio podcast. Thank you for listening. But first, let's listen to this.
Habitation investigation is the way to go for a home inspection in Ohio. Trusted licensed home inspectors for your needs, from radon to mold to warranties. For a great home inspection, you really can't go wrong. Visit homeinspectionsinohio.com.
All right, everybody, welcome back. Today's topic is home buyers. As a home buyer, what should you do during the home inspection?
And shouldn't do.
Because there are some things you should not be doing it, but we've seen people do these things and try to do some things as well. But
so what should you do?
Well, first of all, you should always attend the inspection.
Very
Always,
much so.
if you can. If you're out of state, I understand. We all understand how you can't be there. But if you can, you want to be there because you want to be able to see the issues that the home inspector finds. And there's always going to be something that the home inspector finds. Always. Because there's never a perfect place.
No, and then talking to that inspector gives you clarification with what's going on. So something that might look horrifying on the report or scary to you, in reality isn't a major thing, and the inspector can explain that to you during the inspection.
Yes, my example for that is, say it's a deck and we find a rotted deck board. If you weren't there at the inspection, you might imagine it's the whole entire deck is rotted. But even though we have a picture of it, if you're there, we can show you that it's just these one or two boards. It's not a big deal. So therefore, you can see exactly the magnitude of the issue. Now, while you're at the inspection, what things should you do? Or what kind of things do home buyers do? Because I have to admit, sometimes what the home inspectors are doing can get kind of boring for the home buyer because there's really no need for them to follow the inspector everywhere when they're looking at every little thing.
Well, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. The inspectors have a process that they go through. They go from point A to point B. It's very routine and it's very structured for certain reasons. So what you should do is let them follow that routine. If you're wandering around and you're looking at something and you try to drag them off to that area, that's going to throw them off of their routine. And it's going to be harder for them to pick that back up. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to distract them. You want to make sure that they're doing their routine and that you're letting them do that.
That is an irritation to home inspectors. Because for example, I've been looking at a furnace, and all of a sudden the buyer goes, "Hey, did you look at this over here? See whatever on the wall." I haven't gotten that yet. That's not in the sequence yet for me to do it. I will look at that, but right now you're distracting me from focusing on the furnace and making sure I get all the data off of that. And I'm certain there's buyers that think that maybe they don't think we're not doing a good job or not as thorough as they want. No, it's because we haven't gotten that yet. We have a specific sequence to do things.
Right.
And sometimes buyers, they don't understand that. And go, no, we have not. We do not know the installation of the attic space, so we just got here 10 minutes ago. That's later on in the inspection. There's a sequence of things. So make sure we stay on that sequence. But what can the buyer do?
Well, if the inspector tells the buyer that something is going on, they can ask how bad it is. Is it something that needs repaired immediately? Is it something that they could repair when they move in? Or is it something they could repair themselves?
Give them a little bit of information on that.
Give them a little bit more information on what is going on with that item.
Yep. Now, and sometimes we will have buyers go, "Hey, is this something I can ask the seller to fix or replace for me?" And that's kind of not our position. We're there just to find the facts about the property, and then you and your agent, largely based on what you discussed prior to the inspection, you know what you're going to possibly ask for repairs, money, or for them to replace it, or if it's something you can live with.
I mean, we don't know what your skill set is either. You could be an electrician and nothing electrical will bother you. We can't sit here and gauge what your skill set is and say, yeah, you should ask the seller for that, when in reality, you may not need to because you can do that yourself. So that's why you should have that conversation with your agent so that you guys know what you need to look for on the report and areas that would be of concern to you.
Yep. So what are some things... the home buyer, well, they can also take measurements.
We have measurement sheets that they can download
Measurement
and take copies of and do measurements. They can also kind of try and plan where their furniture is. Do they need any other kinds of furniture? Kind of get a feel for what they want the house to look like when they move in, or whose rooms might be where.
Yeah, because typically when you at the home inspection, that's the most time you're going to be in this house until you move in.
Right.
That's the most time you're there. Typically, you go in, you maybe 15 minutes, 30 minutes viewing the house, and then you make an offer. The home inspection, your time to figure out, take some measurements, see how your stuff's going to fit in there, and then figure out what you need going forward as far as repairs, improvements.
Right.
Some people go in there going to rip out the carpet. So I've had some people bring in a carpet guy with them during the home inspection to take measurements and get estimates, and that's fine. That's never an issue for the home inspectors to have that occur, as long as they're not in the way. And I've never had a carpet guy be in the way ever. So no issues with that.
Now, there is one other thing that a buyer should do. So let's say that they've lived in an apartment their whole life. So they should ask the inspector how to change out the filters in the furnace, how to turn off the water at the main, things like that, like home maintenance type stuff that you should know. Make sure they show you those things. They should know where all of that stuff is and be able to readily show you that. That's another good reason for being at the inspection.
Yeah, because for some home buyers, they don't know where the furnace filter is. They don't maybe not understand how the thermostat is, because there's a lot of different types of thermostats. Right. And we always take a picture of the main water shut off.
Right, so that you know where it's at.
Yeah, because everything really bad happens with your water. You want to know where you shut that water off. So there's a picture of that in the report, so everybody knows where that's at. So do you have some stories of what buyers did or shouldn't do during home inspections?
Do not borrow the seller's kayak and take it out to the nearby stream to use it. This is not your house, so it's not your kayak. Do not use it as if it is.
We've had that.
We have had that happen.
One of our inspectors was, I think it was a condo. I'm not certain what the building was, but there's like a community pond in the back. So our inspector, pretty certain it was David,
sends me a picture.
Upstairs doing the inspection, and he looks out through the window because he's checking the rooms, and there's the buyer out in the pond with the seller's kayak. And I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to do at that point?
At that point, yeah.
So anyway, but we've had people, do not borrow the seller's stuff.
Do not,
it's not yours.
Open up the dishwasher and use clean dishes and then put them back in the clean dishwasher after using it.
Because we will have to restart that dishwasher again and make sure it's clean.
And I will tell the listing agent that you did that.
Yeah. Well, part of the home inspection sequence is that we run the dishwasher. Do not open it mid-cycle.
Right.
Because we're trying to determine if there's leaks around that gasket, that seal, or if it's leaking anywhere. And when you open it,
water will splash.
Yeah, that you're going to confuse whether did you cause that water on the floor or is there an actual issue.
Right.
Another thing we've had people do is, and this is dangerous, we've had open the electrical panel. We're checking out. We've had buyers.
What is that?
Stick their start putting their finger into the panel to see what we're talking about. I want to make certain. And so we've actually, one of the guys has smacked somebody's hand away.
They got really close.
Yeah, we don't want the buyers to get electrocuted. So give the inspector a little bit of space to do what he needs to.
Don't touch things.
And to keep yourself safe.
What are some other things that they've done? We've actually had clients call us because they got locked into the closet
Yeah, that was a funny one.
That was a funny one. So if you're going into a closet, just make sure that it doesn't lock behind you or keep the door open.
Yes, I learned that myself one time. I was doing it as part of the sequence. I was doing the rooms and enter the room. I start turning the doorknob as I shut the door, and about the time I realize that the knob just spins and does not actually catch the latch, the door latched shut, and I was locked inside that bedroom. It took me a couple of minutes, but I was able to pick the lock and get out. But it took me a while in order to get out of there. But we did. Buyers went in, closed up a closet, and they couldn't get out. And the inspector couldn't hear them because I don't know where he was at.
He was in the basement.
He was in the basement. So the buyer called our office, hey, can you let the inspector know?
Let him know to come rescue us.
We're locked in the closet. That was our first. That's the best.
That was
That's
awesome.
the best.
Another thing, children. Don't let your kids go running around and getting into a bunch of stuff. And because, once again, it's not your place. It's not their toys. It's not something that they should be playing with. Plus, it's not our job to watch the kids and to try to keep them safe. So if you can, keep your kids at home and come without your kids. Or if you're coming with your kids, make sure that you keep them corralled and in one location and away from the inspector so that they can do their job.
Bring some things for the kids to play with. I've seen kids come and use the seller's kids' toys. I can understand a kid wanting to do that, but nowadays, people are a little paranoid about viruses and things like that. Not the best
Not a
thing
cool
to
thing.
do. So yeah, if you can keep the kids home, if they want to bring them with you, that's fine. But give them some activities so they know they have something to do as well.
Right.
So I think that's about it. Just basically, good behavior. Don't
Be respectful. Treat their house like you would want someone to treat yours.
Yep.
I'm assuming you're selling your house or you're, moving out of your apartment or whatever. Do you want someone coming in and touching your stuff?
Resetting all your TV and your stereo presets.
Right.
We've had somebody do that before as well.
Yeah. So just be respectful. That's all.
Yep. I think that's about it. Thank you, everybody.
Until next time. Bye.
Take care. Bye-bye.
You've been listening to the Standing Out in Ohio podcast. Be sure to subscribe on Spotify or Google Podcasts to get new, fresh episodes. For more, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, or visit the website of the Best Ohio Home Inspection Company at homeinspectionsinohio.com or jimtroth.com. That's JIMTROTH, and click on podcast. Until next time, learn and go do stuff.